Welcome back to Granja Caimito in the Pedroche Valley of Andalusia, Spain. This video is going to be a bit special. The second part is about grazing, and you'll see what we do with the cows. The first part, however, is about a health check for our pigs, shortly before they are being sent off to a nearby slaughterhouse. I don't think there is anything bad or unpleasant in any of that, but some people might disagree. We humans consider a number of animal species food, and we do kill them so that we can eat. We do kill plants as well, and we also steal the honey from the bees for our breakfast or to sweeten our tea. We humans are omnivores, and are just another predator species living on this planet. I believe it is helpful to be reminded of that here and there by having a good look at the mirror and see what our teeth look like. We humans are also pretty smart, which makes us much more dangerous than our fellow predators. Our intelligence also allows us to decide what degree of suffering we want to cause before eating another creature. Most of us have learned to abstain from unnecessary violence when we turn living creatures into food, and so we have created laws and rules to govern the processes involved. We want our food to be safe and not harm us, so we expect other humans to ensure our own safety. What follows this notice is a food safety procedure, performed by a trained and licensed veterinarian using the most current standards. The veterinarian will draw blood from each pig and also inject the vaccine. The blood is then sent to a lab, and when the lab has cleared our pigs, we are then allowed to send them to the slaughterhouse, where they will be killed in accordance to current rules about animal well-being. Their dead bodies will then be taken to the butcher and turned into food for humans. Pigs are very able to bite the veterinarian, and so the animal needs to be in a cage and the head fixated. The blood sample is drawn from a special point close to the eye. Pigs are also ready to attack when they see another pig in distress, and so special precautions are needed to avoid an attack on the humans involved. If you are not willing to see the pictures and hear the screaming of the pigs, then please stop watching now. This corral is small on purpose, and the only exit is the cage where we can handle the pigs for treatment safely. At the exit, the guys are placing a few more panels to protect the veterinarian. A few didn't want to go into the corral, but we will round them up soon, and then they will all pass through the same procedure. Each pig also gets an earmark, so that later on there's traceability. When there's an issue with the meat in the supermarket, you want to know where the meat came from, which animal, on which farm. And no, the stick is not to beat the animal. It is to make noise and nudge the animal to move away. We don't want to beat the animals, because then the flesh and therefore the meat will be bad, and we cannot eat it. The first one sees the exit and voluntarily gets into the cage. The head gets then fixated for the procedure, and from this moment on all the others take notice, and with each pig it becomes harder and harder to get them into the cage. Now that the remaining pigs know what expects them at the end of this tunnel, they don't want to go there. And so a lot of nudging is required. Keep in mind, we don't want to beat the flesh, because then they will have a hematome and their meat is worthless. The Iberian pig lives like a wild animal, and they are not gentle amongst themselves. They frequently fight over something, and they do bite each other. This is not an excuse, but a reminder. As you can see, the moment the procedure is over, the pig is calm and just walks away. Those teeth are easily able to crush a human bone. I hope you did notice that the pig didn't scream when the vet was drawing its blood. They scream mostly because they don't like to be fixated. It's not that it hurts very much and therefore they scream. It's their position that they cannot move. That is why they scream. Those came back to defend their fellow pig. As long as they don't see what's going on, they are harmless and just investigating, which is I am able to stand there and film. But those panels are for the protection of the guy and the veterinarian, because they would attack them.
No se nos vuelvan cochinos que aprenden, ¿Fuera?
over time the remaining pigs get agitated and try to leave, no matter how. And it's pretty similar to what we have seen with human stampedes, where humans just trample on top of other humans. The pigs are very much like us.
Deja ese que salga, Juan. Deja ese que salga de ahí, tranquilo. Déjalo que salga tranquilo de ahí. Déjalo que salga tranquilo. Déjalo que salga.
That slap on the nose does not do any harm. The nose is mostly a bone. It is that solid bone which allows the pig to excavate and root up the soil.
Hubiesen estado todos dentro.
Acabé, aunque lo tenemos preparado, no nos
9 queda.
Yo tengo que tener preparado, no me vemos.
A ver, con cuidado. No te vengas de ahí, no te vengas de ahí. Me meto ahí dentro porque... Déjalo que salga ese, Juan. No lo arrincones ahí. Déjalo que se salga. No, porque si...
This one is a male pig. You can see the teeth sticking out of his mouth. The blood is drawn next or in the tear channel, so there is already an opening.
Este sabe latín. Oye, que se ha pillado mucho, ¿verdad? ¿Tú crees? No tiene ni una sortilla. Mientras respire, no hay miedo. Malo que le falte la
Esa
respiración.
jaula está muy bien hecha.
Una criatura. ¿No es para tanto?
I do hope that it wasn't that bad. The screaming is pretty bad, but once you understand what is being done and how the procedure is perceived by the pig, it's really not that bad anymore. They scream because they don't like to be fixated. Poking the ear and drawing blood is not worse than what we humans experience in similar situations. These pigs are the last ones that we will handle in this simple but very common way. We have now learned how it goes, and plans are being made to improve vastly going forward. That is why we will not have a large group of pigs for another year, only 5 new ones for a special purpose. It's getting dark already, and I really did not intend to film, but now that I see this, it is something worth noting. So this is our paddock A3, and we had the cows here 24 hours before the vet came today and had to do another health check. Now this is gone, this is done. So the thing that I wanted to share is, you see that we distributed the straw, and you also see the manure piles. And I believe that this is what we need to do for a while until we have enough forage growing. It depends on the rain and of course the temperatures. But what I see is the cows do manure and urinate, and they are spread out so that each one manures in a different place because we have distributed the straw. And we have prepared the next area, so let me turn around. This here is our paddock A5. Unfortunately, the cows overnight found the only weak spot and managed to enter here, but it's an interesting site because you see the same manure piles here, and this is a very good thing. And we have already prepared the straw for the next round in here. So what I'm thinking is that we might want to let them in one of those zones for a couple of days so that they eat straw and are fed with alfalfa pellets so that they have enough chance to urinate and manure, to basically fill up the area with what is missing. And when rain is in the forecast, then of course we remove them so that they won't destroy the small plants that might be in the process of emerging. I don't think they can destroy a lot because there is not much growing at the moment. It needs more moisture, and whatever is there is too short for the cow to reach. So depositing the manure might be the better benefit, and there is really no risk in doing that. So that's the thought, and I think we will try this now during the upcoming week, and then we'll see. Long-term forecast talks about rain. You might see some clouds, but it's already, as you can see, drying up. So it's only a long-term forecast, and who believes in those? So we will have to see, but of course when November comes around, then certainly we will get a lot of rain. October was a bit short, but we are still in October, so it's about, well, almost 2 weeks to be in November. So, but that is the idea, to do some bale grazing with distributed straw so that they can manure all over the place. We will then see how it turns out. I think this looks pretty, and it could have been rain. Those build-ups, they are full of water because the temperatures are now getting lower. There is some cold breeze coming in, so night temperatures are forecasted to be around 7 centigrade, and you can see that in the air. So that is why we have those build-ups there. But of course they are away from us. So the wind blows usually from the west, and west is behind me, and that is to the east. So this definitely will not do any good. And if I pan up, you can see that the cloud layer is very, very thin. They are not very high, but they are very thin, and this is just condensation up in the air, and nothing will fall down. But it looks pretty, especially in that light of the setting sun.